Well, good morning, everyone. You know, I remember just a few years ago when I had 2 pages to read, and that's all I had to read throughout the entire conference. And earlier this morning, I received a packet of about 35 pages. And I thought for a moment, gee, we have that much more to say in this year's conference. But my good friends at the ANA reminded me that it really wasn't that. It was exactly the same number of words, except that the font had to be bigger, because over the years, that's what it takes to be able to kind of read what I'm going to have to read. I want to first of all thank Bob and the ANA, of course. And Bob, congratulations on putting on an incredibly successful Masters of Marketing conference in Phoenix just a couple of weeks ago. One of the things that Bob has done so effectively is to be able to encourage all the CMOs from the United States that present at this conference to really talk and express how important multicultural marketing is for their corporations. And I have to tell you that more and more you're really seeing how major companies are in fact embedding that multicultural point of view into their conversation. Most recently, a terrific presentation by Stephen Quinn at Walmart, who was very emphatic about how multiculturalism is everyone's responsibility. So I can assure you that in the Masters of Marketing Conference, there is in fact a multicultural point of view embedded throughout many of the presentations. I also want to thank Bob and the entire ANA for the support that they provide day in and day out that really enables this conference to have grown to where it has today. I want to thank you and welcome all of you to the 12th Annual Association of National Advertisers Multicultural Marketing and Diversity Conference. I am proud to be here once again and honored to be a part of such a spectacular organization. Every year at the ANA's Multicultural Conference, we've been fortunate to count on a demonstrable increase in attendance. This year is no exception. I'd like to welcome the 700 guests who have joined us here today, again, making this the largest attendance to date. For that, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your support. To me, the increase in participation is not only a reflection of the success of past conferences, but also visible evidence of corporate America's growing interest and commitment to reaching the ever-growing multicultural marketplace. Throughout the last year, I've had a unique opportunity to work with executives in corporations, media companies, and agencies. They all have one thing in common. They understand that in order to increase revenues in today's market, they must effectively target Latinos, African Americans, and Asians, as well as other emerging segments. There's a great enthusiasm for those companies that are getting started and a higher interest to increase their efforts for those who have an established presence in these markets. In speaking to these executives, I've witnessed firsthand the enthusiasm of marketers as they look at revenue projections and understand the huge potential for growth that multicultural segments can generate, especially during tough economic times. Simply put, companies that don't directly target multicultural demographics through their advertising and marketing efforts are, in essence, ignoring over a third of the population of the United States. Understanding the important role that multicultural marketing is playing in today's corporate growth, it's time we lend credence to the need for multicultural departments to become not only embedded into every corporate department, but for multicultural strategies to lead the efforts across corporations. Today, multicultural efforts, although present at many corporations, have often been relegated to the sidelines. Most departments don't understand the full purpose or the benefit of these endeavors. If multicultural efforts are indeed serving as a constant engine of growth, then it's time to elevate these departments to the upper echelons of corporate America. There should be no glass ceiling for multicultural marketing executives because there is no cap in the growth of these demographics in the new face of the United States. If you don't believe me, take a look around. Just 2 years ago, there were half of us in this room. There are 700 of us here today because we realize that if we are not able to effectively compete in the multicultural marketplace, we will no longer be able to compete at all. Presently, not only are multicultural efforts growing in importance within the corporate corridors, but our job to effectively target multicultural demographics is becoming more complex than ever. Today is not only about language of preference, we know that. It's about cultural insights and nuances. Asian, Latinos, and African Americans want to not only see themselves accurately represented in the general market, they want to be spoken to directly, they want to be appreciated, and they want to be understood in their own terms. I'm very excited that over the next couple of days we will learn from each other on how to best contend for a leadership position in this space. We will gain actionable insights and knowledge about how to best reach multicultural markets in the U.S. We will highlight best practices in the marketplace from top marketers in the country, including PepsiCo, AT&T, Time Warner, Farmers Insurance, and others, who will discuss their efforts to connect with and stay relevant to the millions of multicultural consumers in the Hispanic, African American, and Asian markets. This week, you'll hear how Farmers Insurance aligned core consumer values to create a breakthrough marketing program through a unique and inspiring partnership with the Immigrant Archive Project, a partnership that will provide farmers with a remarkable platform to reach multicultural groups by acknowledging their plight and celebrating their journeys. You will learn firsthand how AT&T decided that diversity would become a strategic imperative for them and how that decision has positively impacted their bottom line. You will understand why Home Depot is connecting with the next generation of digitally savvy Hispanics, a group that over-indexes the general market in the technology use. You'll get tips on impacting the online decision-making moment known as the zero moment of truth at Google, and how Walmart has made multiculturalism everyone's responsibility. I want to take a moment to focus on the idea of how multiculturalism is everyone's responsibility. Again, while it is imperative to have dedicated multicultural experts in corporate America who are focused on building this effort, in order to be truly successful, it's imperative to embed a multicultural perspective into every single facet of our corporation. In other words, every single one of us should have skin in the game within the company. The latest 2010 census makes it plain and simple. The potential for growth lies within the growing markets. Therefore, the potential for growth lies in the multicultural markets. As you can tell, we'll have a busy couple of days packed with useful information, tactics, and best practices. Before we move on, though, I'd like to take an opportunity to thank our sponsors. We have our presenting sponsor for the entire conference, Ogilvy & Mather. Thank you, Jeffrey Bowman. From Nuvo TV, last night's reception, thank you very much to our friend Craig Geller, who will be addressing the audience later on in the agenda. From Universal Music, who was the co-sponsor of last night's dinner, Gustavo Lopez. And, of course, the entire Univision family that was also a co-sponsor of last night's dinner, Graciela Eleta, Ruth Gaviria, and Roberto Ruiz, among others. Thank you. Today, at Time Warner's for today's breakfast, thank you very much to Michelle Ebanks and our dear friend Lisa Garcia Quiroz. Alcance Media Group for Wi-Fi in the general session, Christopher Stanley, and HispanicAd.com for their support of this event, and our dear great pal, Gene Bryan. Saludos. Finally, just a few housekeepings before we get the party started. If you would like to tweet about this event, you can use the hashtag #ANA_multi. One more time, #ANA_multi. You will also notice that you have cards right in front of you, and you'll be able to use these cards to write questions. There are ANA members walking around throughout that you'll be able to pass them along, because we are going to have Q&A sessions after each and every one of our conversations with the different folks that are going to be presenting. I do ask you to please make sure that you write clearly and eligibly so that we're able to fully express your question to the speakers and panelists. We're also going to have microphones, so please, I know that this is not a bashful group. By all means, we'd love to hear directly from the microphone. So with that, we would like to move into our very first session.